Hello, we're Kablamo, and
Hello.
today we are going to talk about Autumn
Autumn
of
of
Breakups.
Breakups.
This is the fourth track off of our self-titled EP,
Mm-hmm.
and it is very special to me. I think it's special to the both of us.
It's just one of the best songs we've made, I think.
It has been through many twists and turns that we will talk through with you right now. But it all starts in November 2020. Everybody was feeling a lot of things.
Everyone was getting dumped in November of 2020, and Julia was right there chilling, not getting dumped.
I didn't even have my own things I was inspired by, but all of my friends went through breakups, and I was friends with both sides of each breakup, so I just heard all the sides at once. I was feeling for them so much, and I've had my own encounters with breakups in my time, and I've just felt that pathetic, heart-wrenching feeling of being on the wrong side of a breakup.
Is there really a right side to a breakup?
True. It's almost as though the song is from the perspective of the person that got dumped, but then simultaneously I kind of like come in and I say like it's gonna be okay. So I went in the garage, I was thirsty to make music, and I made a drum loop. I just set the tempo to 180 because it felt good.
Hey. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I recorded a few fills to like kind of paste into my drum loop. You know, when you're just making a beat on your own, you don't really have like the chance to record through a whole song live. First you got to at least kind of lay down a scratch of just like a loop. First I wrote this bass line to this drum fill.
Hey.
And it was catchy. I threw a little guitar riff in there. You know, if it's really easy to play, then I can do it. It was one of the first things that I was able to just like play drums, play guitar, play bass. Like it felt so good, especially because that week I was listening to a lot of female artists and I was feeling super inspired by like Melody's Echo Chamber, Paramore, like local artist Fish Hunt came out with an album, and the threads of this song were ultimately super inspired by that because I was listening to it all week. I was like, I can do this, you know? I want to just make something real. I don't want to make little computer beats anymore. I'm a drummer. I can write real drums, real guitar, real bass, and I could record them myself. I got myself to a place where I could do that, and I was feeling super inspired and happy. This beat I made, I'm going to play it, and it's going to explain a lot of what happens afterwards.
This is Autumn of Breakups version 1.
I wanted you to stay.
So this was the initial foundation, and ever since we've tried to change it up while also maintain that initial spark that came to me that day.
Making this song gave us the most lessons because we were fairly new to arranging music in a way that was like original and kind of authentic to us, but also that makes sense. We were down to take some risks and do some different things, but we also wanted it to, work. So in arranging this song, we just went in a whole journey.
Yeah, so I was just working on it, and Santi came in as I was working on it, and he was like, we gotta put this on the Kablamo album. And I was like, oh my gosh, really? Like, I have an original idea that's gonna make it onto this album we've been potentially talking about. Like, wow, it just fueled me. But you were like, can I like try some things on it maybe?
I didn't want to change the nature of the song because I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, it was like an era in our lives that I think has changed now, which is that like in those days, I think Santi and I, if we would make something on our own, we'd cherish it so much and it would be our baby and no one would be able to touch it. But now I think that like through Kablamoing, collaborating,
through Kablamoing.
through collaborating for so many years, you adding something on my music is just like me adding something. You're an extension of myself at this point.
Beautiful. I agree. I mean, the big lesson for everyone, I think, is that if you cherish and leave a beat untouched and you just kind of like, it's just so sacred, it'll never go anywhere. Mm-hmm. And you'll never release it. So if you have something that's fire, lead with that. Bring that to the table. Involve people. I understand it's hard, but...
If you love something, you gotta set it free.
Did you just come up with that, bro?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an
crazy.
original.
Wow.
That's an original.
Wow. All right, but basically I pull up to the stew and I'm like, what if we did like a really crazy outro?
Yeah, you're like, what if it's like this explosive part that comes later and goes into double time and it's just all psychedelic? And I was like, yes, yeah, let's do it, you know? Because I didn't know what to come after that part that I kind of like, that the beat ended off on.
So the arrangement at this point was verse, the pre-chorus, and then
the chorus.
What was the chorus at the time? And then it just all happened once, and then there was this outro.
Let's listen to it. I loved it, and it was like one of the first things that we collaborated on and made that was definitely like Kablamo EP material.
Yeah.
And we were like, wow, it truly fueled the rest of the EP for me, that I was like, oh my God, I just felt so good. I felt so excited when we made that together, and I want to make more. I want to feel that again.
We wrote it very differently than we wrote Cruisin' and Face to Face. Those were jams that we turned into songs. But this was like, now we were saying, okay, we can like start songs on the computer and stuff. But we were running into certain problems like arrangement.
I was just running into a brick wall, so it really did come to a point where I was like, Santi, I am not sacred about this beat at all anymore. In fact, maybe we shouldn't even include it in the album. It was this crazy moment for me where I felt so helpless, even though I loved it so much. And I was just like, let's just try anything that you could think of, because I've thought it through so much that I've just run out of ideas. And you were just like, we should just go back to, you know, the verse that you started with. Like, again,
Right.
like, let's have it be just like a song structure, like any normal song. And I was like, all right.
Julia didn't want to.
It felt wrong.
I don't want to go back to the verse. Yeah. So I was like, okay.
I was like, I want this song to just be linear and just like keep going somewhere else. But like the chorus that I had there just didn't feel like a chorus. And like ever since we made that outro, I definitely could picture that like chorus melody being at the end of the song, like as this like inspiring emotional thing. We were trying to come up with a new chorus to replace the old one, and Santi was just playing different chords. The chords that he happened to be fiddling with were a half step up, so we were like, okay, what if the chorus is a key change upwards?
What ended up happening was that we wrote an E section. That was our mission. We wrote an E section, but it fit kind of weird with the rest of the song.
Yeah, let's listen to it. Yeah, so we still have that drum break beat there.
Yeah.
The old recording. A new bass line that Santi wrote.
We really liked this chorus, and it was very collaborative. Like, you know, we were coming up with the parts together and all that. So definitely was one of those moments where we like wrote a part together kind of in front of a computer, and it was just going really well. But again, the problem of arrangement. I remember listening to it so many times. It's being like, what do we do?
It was tough to know what to do, but that chorus was so good that we just had to formulate the whole rest of the song around it. So
We changed the key of the whole track to fit the chorus. I still don't know why we didn't just bring the chorus down.
I just think we needed something new. We needed something refreshing. And the chords sounded pretty. Maybe it wasn't all that different, but it just felt fresh. And that's something that we needed at the time. Changing the chords, changing the key really brought a new life to the song that like kept me going and like got me right back into it. And we turned it into more of like a psychedelic pop song.
You know, we changed the key of the verse to match the chorus, and we decided to re-record the whole song, and it just felt like a unity, like an actual song. Once we decided to re-record it, we said, okay, we'll change the chords in the verse a little bit. We'll do a live drum take this time around rather than like a looped. Change the bass line. We changed a bunch of stuff. I think the main goal here was to make it feel like, rather than different parts pieced together, one purposeful song.
It, to me, felt more emotional this way. It was a little less busy in the bass lines and all the riffs that I originally came up with.
It's just funny because eventually we ended up making it really busy again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
should we listen to...
Yeah.
This is, I think, the version that we stuck with the longest. This stuck around for months.
I'll never let this go. If you were the one.
It was nice and easy to elongate the pre-chorus because then I didn't have to write any new lyrics.
Yeah.
I just split the lyrics that I came up with in the first one into two. The first pre-chorus was the first half and the second pre-chorus was the second half. I think what I was struggling with for so long, and a big reason that we like couldn't finish Autumn of Breakups, is because I didn't like the vocal take. It had like too much energy and I was like chanting the lyrics instead of like sounding like I was emotional about it. And that bothered me so much. I was just like, I am not receiving the message right now, which is that you are helpless and miserable. This song is about being in so much pain and just like sitting in it and moping around and just like loving it. And I wanted to have a song about it because when I'm moping, I want to just like mope with a song, you know? I just want to feel seen. And that's partially why I wrote it, like, because I felt like I wanted my friends to feel seen, you know?
Aw, and she was giving so much advice at the time.
There were so many different themes I wanted to touch on, and like to make it as simple as possible, just breakups in the fall. By the way, the song title was inspired by a How I Met Your Mother episode called Autumn of Breakups. How I Met Your Mother called it, you know? It's true. The changing of the seasons usually means you're
People are
either
tweaking.
getting cuffed or you're getting broken up with.
Yeah, so we recorded this track and we came up with some heat.
We were at work. We were working together at the same job this summer, and we would just riff about Kablamo all day. Like, what should we do about this? What should we do about that? How are we going to finish the album? Blah, 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 blah. And we were like, okay, before we do anything else, we have to re-record the whole song. And a big reason why is because we had just seen Crumb earlier that week. They played in the city, and we were really admiring how they all just have their own parts, and that's it, you know? And that's the thing about like playing live and like having multiple people in a band, is that everybody just writes their own parts and they play them together, and it's great. But when there's just kind of two of us, we have to write everything. So then we'll be like, oh, what if we add a synth part here and then another synth part on top of it, and then like 5 melodies at once. And we wanted each and every part, like the bass, to have its own storyline all the way through. The guitar, its own thing. Drums, like we just wanted everything to have its own space, and we wanted a lot more open space.
We've been maximalists, which is cool sometimes, but what this song represents and what Kablamo will be moving forward is we're very much in this less is more mentality. Because it is, you know, at the end of the day, you gotta have some really amazing parts, but not too many, with really amazing sounding tones, and that's it. You gotta find your sound and commit to it. We kind of realized that, and we're like, let's just go for top-notch individual parts.
Even then, we still struggled with minimalism. And we're like working on it
It's
because
a work in progress.
yeah, what I'm about to like play really quick is the guitars in the chorus, and they're so beautiful and I love them and I don't regret a single one of them. But there's still a lot going on with even just the guitars.
Yeah, it's true, but it's so pretty.
It's so pretty though. The outro also has a lot going on.
Yeah, so we went through a lot of different iterations of the outro. That was arguably the biggest headache towards the end of the album. We had that fast version, but eventually we settled for like halftime, still, crash. We had to pick which parts we wanted to highlight. So,
We were grappling with the outro, and as we were just sitting there stressing about it, Aiden walks in.
yeah, literally.
And he's like, let me try some things. And he comes up with this great bass line.
Yeah.
And kind of around that, we all just started like spitting out a million
Yeah.
ideas at once again running into overindulgence and just like
Yeah.
wanting to like have it be like so explosive and enjoyable. But that is what the point of the end of this song is it's supposed to be a climax and just like
Yeah. We have that main melody and then the riff that we still retain from the original because I just couldn't let go of it. Yeah, and then also we used to struggle with the transition into the outro, but
oh yeah.
we finally ended up just going for a good old production trick of like reverse vocals.
I wanted it to feel like you were entering like a whole new universe. I think we were really just like, let's take them on a little trip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There was even a little moment there where I was so addicted to the end that I wanted the song to just fade out with those crashes and everything still going instrumentally. But Aiden and Santi kind of talked me into just dialing back down and getting really
Yeah, it's
vulnerable.
Probably one of my favorite parts of the song is the ending. It used to fade out though. I think we also went with this because when you're making music, you're always trying to read the music you're making and really understand what it's trying to communicate.
And although the lyrics are simple, I wanted everyone to hear them and to really like communicate that message.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was a journey going through this song. It was a journey together writing it.
Yeah, and part of the reason I even wanted to make this making of series in the first place is because this song had such a story, and it's crazy to release something and, you know, you just hear it and they're like, oh, wow, I guess they just pooped this out. We put everything we have into it, whether it shows or not, or whether we could put it into words or not. I just like the idea of getting that through.
Yeah, so, you know, I think the love shows in this song and just all the work and kind of the story of what the band has been so far. I think this song tells that story better than like any other song in the album.
Agreed. I guess that's all.
Yeah, this has been the Making of series
Autumn of Breakups edition
featuring yours truly, Kablamo.
and Kablamo.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, Santi.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Stay safe.
XOXO.